If you can eat it, you can fry it. From pastries to candy to international corn dogs, here are all the fried foods that need to end up on your plate as soon as possible. Falafel is a crispy fritter with many regional variants. It started its journey in Egypt or the Levant, but it's now internationally known and appreciated as a nutritious, convenient street snack and a great meat alternative. It consists of a thick legume paste traditionally made with chickpeas or broad beans. The paste is shaped into balls or elongated patties, which are then fried until crisp and golden. The seasonings inside falafels can vary, but they typically include garlic, onion, and herbs. When fried, these crisp, savory bites are usually tucked inside a thin flatbread and come served with tahini, hummus, and pickled or fresh veggies. Doughnuts are quite the versatile pastries. To speak of their origin would be a thankless task, considering that the first form of frying dough goes back to the ancient Greeks. According to Eater, the fried donut was already familiar in the United States by 1750, when the first recipe for a sweet fried dough was published in the Country Housewife's Family Companion. When it comes to American donuts, we're talking about a leavened dough that's fried and enjoyed as a dessert or a sweet snack. It's usually sugar-coated or glazed and can also be filled with custards or fruit jams. Whatever variety is your favorite, you certainly can't live without munching down on this crispy sweet pastry.
And I can't live without it!
Samosas are stuffed fried pastries that are one of the best representatives of a classic that will never go out of style. They're best known in India, as the country abounds in various samosa styles that range in shape, size, and ingredients. They usually come in triangle or moon shapes, while the typical fillings include paneer, potatoes, or meat. But the combinations are virtually endless, and they tend to be regionally influenced. These crisp packets of goodness are absolutely beloved, and they're usually enjoyed as an appetizer in Indian restaurants. But surprisingly enough, it seems that they didn't actually originate in India. Instead, they developed from sambusak, which first appeared in the Middle East sometime in the 10th century. It then spread through the region, eventually reaching India, where it would evolve into one of the country's quintessential dishes. At its most basic, a chimichanga is a deep-fried burrito that combines a flour tortilla and various fillings like ground beef, beans, cheese, and rice. Regardless of the filling, the main prerequisite for any chimichanga is to fry it in copious amounts of oil to attain that perfectly crispy crust. It's best served with salsas, guacamole, and sauces. The history of the chimichanga is quite murky. As reported by the Los Angeles Times, several Arizona-based restaurants take credit for creating this beefy fried dish. Though it's common in Mexican restaurants in the US, you'll rarely find it in Mexico, which corroborates the story of its American origin.
Honey, I'm in the mood for chimichanga.
So make a chimichanga!
Essentially, pizza fritta is a fried pizza that, unsurprisingly, comes from Naples, Italy, the hometown of pizza. This dish is made with dough that usually holds a flavorful tomato and cheese filling. The sealed packet is fried until the crust is crisp and golden, and the filling turns into a creamy, stretchy cheese delight. Fried pizza was born out of necessity during World War II, when pizza ovens were scarce and food shortages were common. Frying pizza dough proved to be a convenient and affordable alternative, and from this technique, one of the most emblematic Neapolitan dishes was thus born. Scotch egg consists of a boiled egg covered in sausage meat and coated in breadcrumbs, neatly packed and fried until crisp and golden. In Scotland, they're a national treasure and are available virtually everywhere, from supermarkets to gas stations and restaurants. But despite its name, it might not actually originate from the land of highlands, kilts, and bagpipes. As it turns out, Scotch eggs actually have a more complex origin. They might have been modeled on Nargisi kofta, a similar meat-coated egg dish of Indian origin, possibly introduced by English soldiers who returned from placements in India. Another theory involves Fortnum & Mason, a department store that also serves food, which claims that it was the first to think of Scotch eggs as a convenient and portable snack for wealthy travelers. Regardless of these theories, claims, and legends, this fried egg specialty is a must-try in British pubs. It tastes delicious, whether warm or cold. Regardless of how you feel about frying candy bars in general, the deep-fried Mars deserves to be on your must-eat before you die list. This unusual concoction starts off with a regular Mars bar, which is made with chocolate, nougat, and caramel. It's then coated in batter and deep-fried until golden and crispy. The deep-fried Mars bar originates in Stonehaven, Scotland, where it was first made in 1995 at a local fish and chip shop. It actually originally resulted from a dare, and it eventually became so popular that it is nowadays called the unofficial dish of Scotland. Despite some bad press, this legendary candy has managed to endure over the years, and travel books often list it as an essential Scottish dish. Deep-fried cheese appears in several national cuisines, as many foodies have realized that this already perfect ingredient can be upgraded by deep-frying it. The technique is rather straightforward. Cheese is usually battered and then fried in sizzling oil, creating a crispy layer that coats the partially melted cheese. Mozzarella sticks are one of the best-known examples and a favorite in the US. But that's not the only way to deep-fry cheese. The Venezuelan version, known as tequeños, is made with cheese sticks wrapped in pastry and then fried. Europeans have similar adaptations as well. The one that stands out is the Czech edition, in which the whole slice is breaded and fried. And unlike its counterparts, it typically makes for a meal of its own. Whichever version is your favorite, you should always eat it freshly prepared. Croquetas are small Spanish fritters that come in a myriad of flavors. They usually consist of a creamy base made with thickened bechamel that serves as an excellent playing ground for numerous flavor combinations. However, the classic ham croquette is the most popular version. Spanish croquettes are traditionally served and enjoyed as tapas, the beloved Spanish tradition of serving small bites with drinks. Unlike the French counterpart made with mashed potatoes, this Spanish version is distinguished for its use of bechamel, resulting in a deep-fried specialty with an incredibly creamy center, held together by the crispy fried crust. Struffoli is the Neapolitan version of crispy fried dough tidbits that are typically enjoyed for Christmas. This dish probably has Greek origins, and similar varieties exist throughout Italy. What sets these fritters apart is the way they're served. When they attain the right crispiness, tiny struffoli are doused in honey and then covered in candy, candied fruit, and colorful sprinkles, resulting in quite the eye-catching treat. Struffoli is typically associated with Christmas, but in the Italian-American tradition, it's also a part of Easter celebrations. Coxinhas are a Brazilian fritter made with a creamy mix of shredded chicken and local cream cheese, known as queijo, that's neatly wrapped with dough. It's a clever name, as coxinha translates in English to little thigh. That's a reference to the distinctive shape that roughly resembles a chicken drumstick. After the large croquettes are breaded and fried, the pieces attain a golden crispy crust, while the filling becomes a warm, partially melted delight. Coxinhas most likely originated in Sao Paulo sometime in the 1800s, and they later spread to other parts of Brazil and are now enjoyed throughout the country. The locals mostly enjoy them as a street food or snack, and they typically come served with different sauces and dips. Fritto misto is an excellent example of how Italians abide by the idea that everything is better when fried. The phrase fritto misto literally translates to fried mix, and the dish is precisely that, a mixture of fried ingredients that can include meat, seafood, veggies, and even cream or cookies. On the seaside, the favored version is a seafood mix that comes filled with crunchy bits of fried calamari, anchovies, or shrimp, whereas the northern style is often filled with vegetables and some slightly unusual additions such as offal and semolina. In the Marche region, the obligatory addition includes stuffed and fried olive ascalane. These fried mixes make a great snack or an appetizer. Though there are no rules when it comes to ingredients, it always needs to be made fresh. You're probably already familiar with American corn dogs, but the Korean version is an entirely different ballgame. The latter reportedly first appeared in the 1980s. In the beginning, they were a simple, unpretentious snack in the form of sausages coated in corn batter and then deep-fried. But corn dogs then grew into a national craze, which led to the emergence of numerous varieties. The most popular version these days is the one that incorporates chopped French fries in the corn batter. The combinations are endless and may include standard condiments or some traditional options made with kimchi or rice cakes. Some corn dog shops also offer customized options, allowing you to dress them up to your liking.
Couple more nitrate sickles, please.
2 corn dogs coming up.
Youtiao is a humble Asian snack that can best be described as the Chinese cruller. It's known by various names, and the early version had quite a distinctive, elongated form that reportedly resembled a human shape, whereas the modern version looks a bit different. Youtiao is mostly enjoyed at breakfast, and though it makes a great snack on its own, it also pairs well with congee or any other soups or stews. In addition to China, these popular fritters are found in other Asian countries as well. You'll most likely find it at street stalls. If you're in the right area, don't miss the chance to munch down on a freshly prepared Youtiao with its crisp crust and soft, tender center. Chile's rellenos is a fusion dish and New Mexican staple that has its origins in the Mexican city of Puebla. It consists of a large stuffed pepper coated in batter and fried. It's usually made with green peppers that are roasted and skinned before they're filled and fried. The most common version is made with poblano peppers and stuffed with cheese, usually served doused in red tomato sauce. Variations abound, and many include other peppers, which must be large enough to hold the stuffing. Other styles can also include beef or pork fillings, nuts, raisins, and different sauces. Pakora is an Indian staple consisting of various deep-fried ingredients such as green peas or prawns. It's a humble dish enjoyed throughout the country, though it appears in several slightly different varieties and under numerous names. Experts believe that 16th century Portuguese traders stopped in India on their way to Japan, bringing Indian cooks with them who made pakora. These cooks must have brought the food to Japan, and the dish became what we know as tempura. Pakora can be enjoyed as a snack, a side dish, at tea time, or as a meal all on its own. Though it's traditionally vegetarian, any vegetable, meat, or seafood can be made into a pakora. Most Indian regions have a signature version that can differ in the base ingredients, their seasonings, or the components that are added to the batter. Bitterballen are small round fritters consisting of meat fillings that have Dutch origins. They typically come served with a mustard dip and make a great pairing with any alcoholic drink. They're best enjoyed freshly prepared, while the center is still warm and gooey. Bitterballen have a long history in their native Netherlands. They were reportedly made in the 1700s at a local Amsterdam pub, owned by a man named Jan Behrens. His wife created these small ragu-filled bites that they later served to their guests. And now, after all those years since, these crispy balls remain a favorite Dutch snack.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your introduction to bitterballen.
Arancini are deep-fried rice balls filled with savory fillings that are fried until the pieces attain a golden, crispy crust. These large fritters hail from Sicily, where they originated in the 10th century. They were named after the orange, which is arancia in Italian. This was most likely because of the orange color they attain during frying, which resembles that of the fruit. Arancini typically hold a savory, meat-based filling, and along with typical round shapes, the one from eastern Sicily may also have a cone-like form. Most people associate fried green tomatoes with the traditional cuisine of the American South. This dish consists of thick slices of lightly battered green tomatoes fried in sizzling oil. Though it sounds modest and not even remotely spectacular, the appeal of this dish is in its simplicity. Fried green tomatoes were popularized in 1991 by the movie of the same name, based on Fannie Flagg's novel that told the story of friendship, support, and Southern hospitality, all paired with some delicious regional dishes. Since then, most people have believed that fried green tomatoes originated in the South. However, according to Robert F. Moss, author of The Fried Green Tomato Swindle and Other Southern Culinary Adventures, this concoction was actually first brought to the Northeast and Midwest, most likely by Jewish immigrants, and only later spread to the South. Whatever their origin, these fried veggies are an excellent starter that you can eat anytime, anywhere. Fried artichokes are a traditional Roman appetizer. Originally, they were called carciofi alla Judea, which can be roughly translated as artichokes Jewish style. This dish has a long history in the Italian capital, probably originating centuries ago among the Jewish community, hence the name. The artichokes are fried whole, and as they fry, the leaves open and crisp up, creating a delectable flour with hidden pockets of salt and artichoke juices. Traditionally, old-school restaurants would fry these veggies twice for added crispiness. We imagine you'll want to eat them twice for added deliciousness. A cronut is a delicious cross between a croissant and a donut. If you've never tried it before, it may sound strange, but once you taste it, you'll never forget it. The cronut was invented by legendary New York City baker Dominique Ansel, who worked on the recipe for 3 months before it was finally ready to sell. When the cronut was introduced, Ansel's shop became the trendiest spot in the city, with people lining up in front to get a taste of this newfangled pastry. That popularity is easy to understand, as the cronut is a flaky and crispy pastry with many layers filled with cream, coated in sugar, and covered in a glaze. Simply put, it's a definite must-fry and must-try.
They may run out of cronuts.
Beignets are of European origin, but this delicious square of fried dough is now inextricably related to New Orleans, where it found its spiritual home. It's made with leavened dough that puffs up into a flaky, golden delight when it's dropped into sizzling oil. There are really no rules about when you can enjoy your beignet. It's ideal as a breakfast, a snack, brunch, late dinner, or all of the above. Just make sure you have your napkin ready, as the generous amount of sugar on top will inevitably end up everywhere. Ideally, you should pair a beignet with cafe au lait to get the full taste of this top-notch New Orleans tradition. Lángos is a Hungarian specialty. It's a round disc of fried dough that can be topped with various savory ingredients. Made with leavened dough, Lángos is thinly stretched and dropped into a copious amount of sizzling oil to puff, crisp up, and attain that delightful caramel color. You can eat it as is, but adding a spread of garlic or sour cream with cheese will surely elevate it to the next level. Lángos is traditionally enjoyed as a street snack, and Lángos stalls also commonly appear during any celebration, gathering, or festivity. You better be hungry when you come to Hungary.
I'm hungry.
Ice cream is excellent all on its own, but have you ever had it fried? If you've yet to have the pleasure, now's the perfect time. First, freeze a baking sheet for a few hours. Then scoop balls of ice cream onto parchment paper on the baking sheet. After 30 minutes of freezing, the scoops must be thoroughly coated in batter and then dipped into the fryer. The batter will crisp up and create a protective layer that will keep the ice cream nice and cold. Though it sounds like a magic trick, we encourage you to try it to discover that there's no big secret to it, just big flavors and interesting textures. The origin of fried ice cream is rather murky, but the most popular varieties include Asian tempura battered ice cream and a Mexican-style version with cereal and cookie crumb coating. The Japanese have perfected the art of frying, and that includes taking great pride in a certain fried specialty known as Kushiage. The name encompasses a variety of small-sized snacks that are skewered and then fried in sizzling oil. Though it sounds similar to tempura, the batter for Kushiage includes an egg and some breadcrumbs, creating a firmer crust than the one delivered by tempura. The skewers are served with a dipping sauce on the side and some pickled cabbage strips that should cleanse your palate before each bite. Kushiage is typically made with beef or pork morsels, lotus root, or fish. A dessert mentioned in the ancient book 1001 Nights just had to make the list of deep-fried dishes you have to try before you die. In its simplest form, Lokma is a deep-fried dessert made with leavened dough shaped into small, round balls. When the bites come out of the fryer, they're doused in honey and then ready to be eaten. This treat is common in many Mediterranean and Middle Eastern countries, where it is typically prepared for festivities and gatherings. Traditionally, Lokma balls are covered in honey or date syrup, but they can also be sweetly delicious with a drizzle of chocolate or caramel.
If something's fried, I might eat it.